All right, let's talk about money. You know, that thing we all have to deal with, but that can sometimes feel, well, impossible to manage. We're going to break down a really simple, really popular way to get a handle on it all. It's called the 50-30-20 rule.
Does that question make you groan a little bit? Yeah, I get it. For so many of us, the word budget just sounds restrictive. It makes you think of complicated spreadsheets, or maybe that you can never, ever have fun again. Let's be real. It just sounds kind of boring and overwhelming, right?
But what if it didn't have to be like that? What if there was a simpler way? A method that could give you a super clear blueprint for your money, one that guides you instead of drowning you in details. Well, good news. There is. Okay, so our first big idea here is that we need to totally rethink what budgeting even is. It's not about restriction, not at all. It's actually a tool for freedom. The whole point isn't to make you miserable. It's to help you make smart, intentional choices with your cash.
And you know why that's so important? Because a simple framework frees up your mental space. Seriously, it helps you get around something called decision fatigue. When you automate the big stuff, you're not constantly stressing about every little purchase. This simple shift helps you spend less than you make, get ready for those unexpected things life throws at you, and most importantly, actually start funding your dreams. The whole idea is to build good money habits that'll stick with you for life.
So how do we actually build those habits? Well, that brings us right to the heart of it all. The simple 50-30-20 rule. Honestly, it's a fantastic starting point for pretty much anyone who wants to finally feel in control of their money. So what exactly is this thing? Well, it's what's called a proportional budget. That sounds fancy, but all it means is that you're not tracking every single penny. Instead, you just take your paycheck. That's the money you get after taxes are taken out, and you split it into three really simple, big categories.
And here they are, the three buckets. This rule was actually made popular by Senator Elizabeth Warren and her daughter Amelia. And it's so beautifully simple. 50% of your income for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings. That's it. Simple, right? Okay, let's break down what each of those actually means.
All right, first up, needs. This is the biggest piece of the pie, 50%. These are the absolute must-haves. We're talking rent or your mortgage, utilities, groceries, insurance, the stuff you have to pay to live and work. This also includes the minimum payments on any loans or credit cards. Basically, if you can't survive without it, it's a need.
Next up, we've got wants. This gets a nice 30% chunk. This is all the fun stuff. Your non-essentials. This is the money for dinners out, hobbies, that vacation you're dreaming of, all your streaming subscriptions. It's the lifestyle stuff that makes life worth living.
And last but definitely not least, we have the super important 20% for savings. Think of this as paying your future self first. This is for building up an emergency fund, investing for retirement, saving for a down payment, and here's a really key point. It's also for any extra payments you make on your debt above the minimum. Okay, so the theory is all well and good, but let's get real. How does this actually work with, real money?
So for our example, let's just use a number that's pretty close to the US median income. Let's say your take-home pay after taxes is $4,500 a month. So $4,500. That's the number we're going to work with.
All right, check this out. With that $4,500, 50% for your needs gives you $2,250 for things like rent and food. 30% for your wants, that's $1,350 of guilt-free fun money. And that 20% for savings means you're socking away $900 every single month. When you see it broken down like this, it suddenly feels totally doable, doesn't it? So, where do you even begin? It's actually a pretty simple four-step process. First, figure out exactly what your take-home pay is. Second, and this is probably the most eye-opening part, you gotta track your spending for a month. Just see where your money is really going. A lot of banking apps can even do this for you now. Third, you take all those expenses and sort them into those three buckets: needs, wants, and savings. And finally, you just adjust. Tweak your spending to get closer to those 50-30-20 goals.
Now, this is probably the trickiest part for most people, and where the line can get, well, a little blurry. How do you tell the difference between a need and a want?
This is a perfect example. A phone plan to stay connected for work and safety, yeah, that's pretty much a need these days. But the brand new, top-of-the-line smartphone with the biggest data plan you can get, that part is a want. And this is where you have to be really honest with yourself. You'll probably find that a lot of things you think of as needs are really just wants in disguise.
Okay, so here are a few pro tips to make this whole thing way easier. The absolute best one? Automate everything. Seriously, set it and forget it. A really popular trick is to use two separate bank accounts.
Your paycheck goes into account A. That's for your needs and savings. Then you set up an automatic transfer for the day after payday to move that 30% for wants over to account B. That second account, that's your guilt-free fun money. Spend it on whatever you want until it's gone.
All right, let's get to our final and maybe the most important point. You have to make this budget yours. This is no one-size-fits-all thing. Flexibility is everything.
Look, personal finances, well, it's personal. Everyone's situation is different. The 50-30-20 rule is an awesome starting point, a great guideline, but it is not set in stone. If you live somewhere super expensive, maybe your needs are more like 60%, so you adjust to 60-20-20. Or maybe you're laser focused on getting out of debt. You could flip it to 50-10-40, cutting way back on wants to get there faster. The whole point is to find the numbers that actually work for your life.
And hey, remember, this isn't the only way to do it. There are other methods out there, like pay yourself first. That's where the moment you get paid, you automatically move your savings, then pay your bills, and whatever is left is yours to spend. At the end of the day, the best budget is the one you'll actually stick to.
And I want to leave you with this final thought from financial planner Tanza Loudenbach. It kind of flips the whole idea of budgeting on its head. It's not about restriction, it's about priorities. It's about choosing to be intentional with your spending so you can pour more into your savings, into your future. So really, the question isn't, what do I have to give up? The real question is, what kind of future do I want to build for myself?